don't watch football.
You don't watch? You don't watch football at all?
At all. I don't like watching film either.
Everything, as soon as the season ends for college football, until everyone gets drafted, it's all a lie. Everyone's lying. Out of FBS wide receivers last year, Ted McMillan was 3rd overall in forced missed tackles. He's a 6'4" demon. He's got a giant catch radius, but apparently he doesn't watch film. And Unc Shannon Sharpe is not happy at all about it. So today we're gonna watch Unc react to that. We're gonna watch Tetiora McMillan. And I'm butchering your name. I apologize. I'm just gonna call you Ted McMillan for the rest of the game. I think you're a dog. I think there's a little bit of miscommunication, but we're gonna get there. Let's hear him talk about why he doesn't watch tape. We're gonna watch Ocho grill him, and then we're gonna go a little deeper on who Ted McMillan is as a player.
I don't watch football.
You don't watch football at all?
At all.
Is it hard to watch film then if you don't like watching football?
Yeah.
For real? That's crazy.
I don't like watching film either. I don't ever need to watch it by myself because we go over as a receiver group.
So that is the clip, and that was from a podcast. I'm not gonna get too specific because we're gonna mess up the reveal. But let's listen to what Shannon Sharpe and Ocho had to say about that situation. Shout out to Nightcap. Of course, we're gonna listen to the audio, have something playing in the background.
Is this a big deal or no?
I don't think it's a big deal because
Oh Lord, have mercy, Ocho.
you asked me a question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you asked me it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. What does he do once you turn the film on? Him specifically, from an individual standpoint.
So watching film is not a big deal.
Answer what I just said. When you turn the film on and it's time for him to play, what does he do on the field, regardless of him not watching film? Does he show up and play? Is he productive in what he does?
Okay.
I'm asking you.
I know a guy had that same thing, Jamarcus Russell. How did that work out for him?
I don't know about Jamarcus Russell.
You do know about Jamarcus Russell. He was the first #1 overall pick.
We not talk about Jamarcus Russell. We talk about him.
This Ocho. So this man ain't got to watch no film.
Yeah, he got to watch film. You asked me, is it a big deal? I said, no, it's not a big deal. If you produce when you get your ass on the field. How you going to get mad at my goddamn answer?
Because you're saying stuff, Ocho. You saying watching film for a receiver is not a big deal.
He says he doesn't watch it by himself, but he watches it collectively as a group.
You know, in order to be great, you got to watch it on your own. So just watch it. Just watching it as a group at the team thing. That's good enough. I want to make sure I get clarification.
Listen, that's him. I know what I did.
Ocho, that's why we're asking you. You were the Pro Bowler. You're saying it's not a big deal.
Can I? Oh, hold on. Let me ask you something real quick. So watching the film by yourself, right?
Yes.
Stay with me real quick. Stay with me.
Yes.
You know what you're looking at. You're looking at DB. You're looking at defense.
Yes, I'm watching the technique outside. Do they freeze technique? Do they press bail? Exactly. What do they do? Outside, inside? Yes, I'm watching all that. Yes.
All that good stuff. Now that's me and you on the same page, right? Let's say he doesn't watch it as an individual, but he watches it as a group. He watches it as a group. Once he gets to the next level, and he gets out and does what he's supposed to do without watching it individually, is it still a bad thing? He's still productive. Is it still a bad thing?
I don't believe. Me personally.
You don't think he can get it done because he doesn't watch film by himself?
No. There have been guys that watch film and can't get it done. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is the intricacies of what you're watching that guy does at a certain down and distance because because I've got to watch a guy that he might play such and such different than what he plays me. I need to know it down and distance, area of the field, how that guy's going to play because he's going to play, is he going to play the sticks? Right. Is he press bail? Does he, is he cluing? I need to know all that. If I'm not watching tape, it's just hard for me to believe. Now he could be that immensely talented that you say, you know what, I'm just going to show up. But I don't know. I haven't heard any receivers that's worth anything that says, nah, I'm good. Because you got to do it on your own.
Yeah, you have to. And when I think about it now, I'm only speaking because when he didn't say he didn't watch it at all. He said he watched it as a group. Now that's one thing. Now him not doing it individually, I mean that's on him. But he was very productive in what he did, and when you turn on the film,
he said, "I don't ever need to watch it by myself." This is what he said. I don't like watching film either. Right. I don't ever need to watch film by myself because we go over it film as a receiver group
collectively. Yeah, see, that's different. My reason for watching film individually is I had no choice. Despite the entertainment, the jokes, and the laughter and the celebrations, I was a student of the game. I studied film just like the quarterback.
You wanted to be good, Ocho.
Right.
You wanted to be great.
Oh, great. Okay.
And you realized that's what it took in order to be great. You realized that just your God-given ability wasn't going to be enough. No. Now, that might have gotten you to that point.
Yes, sir.
But what's going to take me to the next level? With every other receiver is just as talented as I.
Yes, sir. You're right.
And so that's what. But Ocho, a better point. Everything that's thought doesn't need to be said out loud.
Oh, okay.
Some things you just keep to yourself.
He'll learn it, though.
I want you to tell me what you think them 32 NFL teams thinking.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
That's what I don't get, Ocho. I don't get, because you know how teams feel. Remember what they put. If it wasn't a big deal, why did they put that clause in Kyler Murray's contract?
Kyler Murray, about gaming? Yeah.
Why would you ever say this publicly when you're about to get, Ocho, somebody's about to get, you going on a job interview and you tell the people, I don't really like coming on time.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you ever tell the people that's interviewing you for a job that? Get the job first.
Yeah.
And then let them figure out that you don't like to bring your ass to work on time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you.
Hey, yeah, you're right. But one thing about
all right. Let's stop these old heads now. I appreciate Shannon kind of going in. So here's the thing we do need to clarify, because when I initially listened to this, I was like, well, they're wrong because of what I'm about to explain to you. But not really, because it's kind of the same conversation. So there's two conversations to be had. The conversation initially needs to be had about the player who doesn't watch film, who doesn't watch football. Now, me personally, some of the best players that I played with in high school, they say they hated watching football. I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Some of the other greatest players, they couldn't watch enough football. So I just think it's a different person for person thing. Two, you have to understand, and this is where I want to give Tet the grace there. A clip video from a podcast is making this round. This is from Shannon Sharpe, showing Tet Mcmilan saying, I don't watch football. I don't like watching film either. The host said it was from the offseason, as it was a recent, as if it was a recent recording. I want to clear this up. The video was filmed 2 years ago after his freshman year when he was 19. He talked on the full behind-the-scenes video, link published in 2023, about how his goal is an 1,000-yard season. He then recorded back-to-back 1,300-yard seasons, and Mcmilan will turn 22 next week. He's probably changed since spring 2023, regardless of his current 2025 take on watching football. Just wanted to clarify that this video was not Mcmilan this offseason, but a 19-year-old after the freshman year several years ago. So the question about, does this dude who is this talented, does he need to watch film? I'm gonna answer that question straight off. If he wants to be great in the NFL, yes, he's going to need to learn to love to watch film, because everyone talks about the Julian Edelmans. I think he's a great example because he clearly wasn't someone who was athletically a standout, right? He says the difference maker is your mind. Brock Purdy recently talked about that. The difference maker is your mind. All these guys are elite athletes, dog. The only reason why LeBron James is playing at 47 years old, I don't know. I mean, I get it. He's not 47. At 47 years old, and he attests to this, it's his mind. I know what to do better than y'all. And it's as simple as that. So does he need to have better knowledge to be elite? Yes. And I think he should do that. So I'm happy that he doesn't fully feel like that. But let's go deeper on the conversation of what I tell y'all and what I've been talking to y'all about. And we've been mostly relating because we talk about a lot of Dion on this video. We talk a lot of, or in this channel, we talk a lot of Shador. We talk a lot of Shiloh. We talk a lot of Colorado because, hey, believe it or not, it's the most popular. Y'all like watching it. I make videos on other stuff. As a matter of fact, if I could plug, you know what I'm saying? I made a recent Micah Hudson video. That was a fresh video. That was fire. That was flaming. So if you're tired of the Colorado stuff, you go watch that. But right now, what I'm talking about, when I've been alluding to those, is in the same way I say, hey, everything's a lie. Everything, as soon as the season ends for college football, until everyone gets drafted, it's all a lie. Everyone's lying. That is, shout out to Warren Sharp, because, people feel the way he feels about him. But I think he's a decent account. And from him being able to stand up for Tet, right, for a young guy, I know he's older now, he's 22, whatever. I know he's an adult, but standing up for a young guy who's in the media is not going to have any friends, right? Trying to frame it, those guys, not him, but trying to frame it like, oh, he just said that. This is from the recent offseason. Oh, he doesn't watch film. That's nasty, dog. And hey, I don't know, maybe he doesn't like watching football. That's not a big deal. I don't like watching football. Now, do GMs care about that? Yeah. They want you to be obsessed with football because for 18, 19 weeks, because of the 17-game series or 17-game, schedule, you have to love football to when you're in season 7 and you're doing that and I'm paying you $100 million. I want you to love football there, right? But that does not mean that he's not watching film. And that doesn't mean, and I think this is Warren Sharp's biggest point for pointing that out. I appreciate him for doing that. It doesn't mean he's the same dude he was when he was 19. Not only 19, but he hadn't had an 1,000-yard season. Maybe something changed. Maybe something switched up. But I tell you one thing, I'm a completely different person from 19 than when I was 22, and definitely a different person from 19 to now the age I am now. I ain't gonna let y'all know, you know what I'm saying? But I say that to say that it's lies. It's lies because Ted McMillan, I had him as the best wide receiver coming into this year when I saw this. When I saw him absolutely just there. I mean, what do you want him to do? What do you want Travis Hunter to do here? What you want him to jump through the 6'4" dude? The ball is thrown wherever he can. He catches it with one hand. The body control is crazy. The ability to high point is crazy. This is a first-round wide receiver. Now, he didn't have the year that he had, but also his quarterback didn't have the year that he was supposed to have. His team as a whole was just not as good as Arizona should have been, or people perceived Arizona to be. So there's that. But I just, y'all know what's happening. Just so y'all know, in the same way that Shedeur Sanders is, and we're going to have a separate conversation about that, because we're going to give you my honest opinion about Shedeur Sanders. I've just been kind of defending lies to give you my honest opinion. But to give you my honest opinion about Ted McMillan, dude's a dog. I don't know what else. Like, there's nothing else to get confused about. He's a dog. People are trying to frame it in this nasty way that he doesn't watch it. Shout out to Shannon Sharpe for, having that fire and that standard there. But I hope that they kind of get updated, because they are wrong on the idea that this is happening before the NFL. And it sucks even more that it's going to get amplified by that, because Shannon Sharpe and Ocho are the biggest, besides Skip Bayless, besides Pat McAfee, they're the biggest football show. So going on right now. But let's get into it. We're going to end off this by kind of hearing from a few things. We're going to start with actually Tet himself, talking about Travis Hunter, talking about who's the baddest man on the field. Then you got Steve Smith giving his opinions on that. Then we're going to follow up with some of the comparisons. And apparently some people are complicating how they feel about McMillan. So let's start here with old Travis Hunter, or him on the Travis Hunter podcast.
Man, my favorite game probably got to be my first game versus New Mexico this past year.
Yeah, but that was a tough game, bro. Guess who was watching? The whole team.
Everybody. How were you feeling that in that moment? Like, what was going through your mind, bro?
What you got, like 200 and something?
I had 304.
Oh,
yeah.
Boy.
But yeah, it was a good game. But I feel like that ruined the rest of my senior year.
Because after that,
because that's like, oh man, I barely got any one-on-one anymore. I barely got any cover zero.
But you gotta understand that's gonna happen though. Yeah. When a team ain't got they don't feel good, don't feel comfortable with who they got guarding you. That's been a lot of teams.
Respect.
So it's respect. Everybody know you the baddest man on the field when they play you. So
now when we get to this next level, they can't do that no more. They got too many. They got too many elite players on the field.
Elite players. You just got to do your job. You do your job.
For sure.
You might end up with 300 again.
Right.
Hey, and here's what's crazy. Like what I alluded to when I was talking about Shannon Sharpe and him. Hey, you got to have the facts right. And it's not his fault. I know he's not he's just giving his take on it. But to hear him March 24th, this is a newer video. I know this happened during the Super Bowl, right? To hear him actually during the offseason, which we know is a more modern video, he's saying the sentiments that I just said, that Shannon just said, hey, everyone's elite at this level, so there needs to be something that separates you. So I think that right there is just proof that clearly his ideas of what the NFL, like he knows that there needs to be another edge, and he gets that, right? So trying to, disingenuously paint him as something other than that, hey, somebody want him to fall, man. Somebody's trying to Laramie Tunsil gas mask him, man. So that's what they're trying to do. So let's hear what Steve Smith has to say about the situation.
One question I have with him is, obviously the contested catches are something that he's known for. Obviously, we talked about the size at 6'4", almost 220. How do you, when you're looking at film, try to evaluate the contested catches versus collegiate talent versus those will translate to winning contested catches versus NFL talent? How do you go about that when you're breaking this down, Steve? Because I just wanted to point that out because that is a big part of his game.
That's the only thing a part of his game.
Okay.
Last year when I was watching Jacob Cowing for Arizona, I watched Jacob Cowing and I didn't see T-Mac. I didn't see his presence like I'm seeing it this year. There were times he lacks the focus to be that impact player if he's not the focal point of the offense. So
those are strong words. Those are strong words from somebody in Asian 89 who I think has a lot of strong opinions on a lot of things. So I think that matters. Go watch that full interview. Of course, I don't know if that song is copyrighted or what, or what's cooking off. But I think, look, if you're looking at me, I'm going to say that Tet McMillan is one of the most elite wide receivers in the draft. I don't care. I love Travis Hunter. I think he's elite. He might be 1B, right? But I think he's as a player, he's an anomaly. So try to put him in these rankings, for me, it's not making sense. Like, oh, well, he's number 3 wide receiver or number 2 or number 1 wide receiver. It's like, I guess, but is that what you're going to get out of him? Tet, he's going to play wide receiver. He can play the traditional X, even though that doesn't really exist anymore. I would love to see more fluidity from him, right? It's because the whole Drake London comparison down here that's going on. I think Drake London was a little more fluid of an athlete. I think he was a little more smoother of an athlete, but Tet is quite smooth. And I think Tet is a better at the catch point type guy. He's a big body dog that can run the routes and do those things. But when you have somebody in a route technician in Steve Smith pointing out that there might be some lacklusterness there, that there might be a sense and a lack of presence there, it is something to think about. But I don't think it's anything that's going to define who Tet McMillan is. But hey, I know there's a few teams that are hoping that he keeps on sliding down. And as a Texans fan, I'm one of them. All right. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about Tet McMillan. Is this a big deal? Is the Shannon Sharpe guy his wires crossed? Are they doing a smear campaign like Shador? Let me know down below in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Dislike if you don't like it. Subscribe if you enjoy college football content, updates, draft, everything else in between. We'll talk about foosball around here. All right? You be great. I know you're great. See you next time.